Welcome, welcome. You have found your way. Wager Talk Studios. Big East Hoops is what we're going to discuss, and we're going to talk about the Georgetown Hoyas and the Butler Bulldogs. First and foremost, to the point here, unless you're going to be watching this game, you're interested in this game, you don't need to listen to this free pick or this analysis on this game, the Big East Hoyas against the Bulldogs, because I don't believe it's going to be close. I think the line's a steal at -3, total at 146.5, 147. I'm staying away from that part, but really like visiting Butler tonight minus the field goal. And here's why. First off, two tradition-rich programs. Yes. The Hoyas in better hands now than over the past decade, without question. Give Ed Cooley another 2 years, and this Hoyas team will be relevant once again. And they'll be a different team than they were under Thompson in those years, the bright, sunny, shiny years where they were in national championship contention seemingly year in and year out. It'll be Ed Cooley basketball, which I really like. I like the way he coaches basketball. I like the style of play that his teams provide and entertain with, and they will, again, be relevant. So let's understand these two teams, really, these two squads, who they were last year about this time, who they are now, and who they are moving forward now that we're in late January. There are some differences. Differences really aren't too much optic or statistic as far as both these teams on the outside looking in for not only for the top of the conference, but for the field of 68. Okay, neither one of these teams are going to finish in the top of the conference. I don't believe. And if anyone has a chance, it would be Butler, and they'd have to have 2 or 3 upsets in the final stages of their schedule, the second half of the schedule, conference schedule, should I say. And the Hoyas are an easy toss. They're just an easy toss. They just don't have depth, and they're too dependent on one player, and we'll get to that too as well. Butler 4-4 against the spread, win 5-point favorites on the road or less. Hoyas 4-4 as 5-point or less home dogs. It's a wash. I mean, a coin flip really as far as the number goes. If you were just going to be a degenerate junkie and play everything, every single game, every single night. But as far as the injury front, training room, these two Big East schools, not a lot new. Butler, Turnbull, who had an injured elbow in mid-December, early December, he's been out since, hasn't been seen since, and there's not much word on Turnbull. He hasn't contributed at all. So as far as the Hoyas go, Grant, he had a concussion in early December, late November, and has been out since. And I did some. Not that he's going to contribute much, but I'm always interested in these kids and what happens, and there's not much word on him as well. I even dug a little bit into due diligence that did not return any information whatsoever. Those interested in watching this game, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, early start tonight, Fox Sports 1 at a DC Capital One Arena. The Hoyas' depth needs serious work. Cooley will address this. He'll have this in hand, and he understands that depth's crucial in Power 6 programs to be competitive through a long and grinding conference season, especially over the next decade when a number of West Coast programs or schools will have to be doing a lot of traveling, those joining the Big Ten and the Big 12. A lot of traveling. So depth's pretty important. As is how Jaden Epps goes, so go the Hoyas. Epps, 30% of what the Hoyas do. 30%. And Cooley has no one to replace this kid. No one. If he was, God forbid, to lose Epps to injury, it would take him a week to coach somebody up to be able to cover 30% of what Epps. That's the lack of depth that the Hoyas have. His 19 points and 5 assists per game are not replaceable. And considering that this team averages less than 70 points a game, bottom half of Division I, don't shoot very well from the field, 30% from downtown. They do shoot pretty well from the line, 74%, and they depend a lot on 22% of their points come from the cherry stripe. They won't even get that much, not from Butler, who doesn't foul. They defend without fouling, and average less than 14 fouls per game. How much weight do you put on the second games in league play? I don't put much on this one, other than I think Butler's going to school them again for the second time, double digits. I put some weight on second games in league play if the teams are top 25% of their conference in the standings, have a quality first 5, and at least 2 quality reserves. Then I think you can do such, because games, those coaches are good coaches. They make decent adjustments for the most part, and I think second games make a difference. I don't infuse a large degree into a game such as tonight's. Butler won 74-64. First time these two met. It was at Hinkle in the Big East opener for both teams. And this is a Butler team that's improved significantly since January 1st, even as far as points per game. And while they haven't been real good win-loss or against the spread, they've done what they can do with the talent they have and the depth that they have. And they do have some scoring depth. They're not as good defensively as they were last year, so that's really hurt them to a degree. But Butler leads the Big East in shooting from three-line. And if Georgetown is going to sag, then Butler will beat them from the three-line tonight. It won't. The first game between these two, Butler just crushed them in the paint, doubled them up in points in the paint. And I expect Cooley to make some adjustment there, and if so, then you're going to see Brooks and Telford shooting from the three-line and scoring. That's just the way it's going to be. And despite their recent struggles, this Bulldogs team is head and shoulders better. 7-1 in the last 8 games on the road against the Hoyas, and better this year, head up by 10 or 15 points when they're healthy, and they're healthy. Butler's favorite again, 3 points, total 146, 146, 6.5, 47, depending on your shop. Ignore the line movement in this game. It really doesn't. It has nothing to do with sharp money or any public steam for that matter. So you'd want to be. Here's what you want to be tonight. You want to be on the Bulldogs minus the 3. It's a good number. It's a fair number. I think it's a number that's stealing from the books. The Bulldogs, they get back to 500 mark in conference play, and they'll do their best to sprint to the finish line with some kind of momentum in hopes that they will do some damage during the Big East Conference Tournament. Butler 10-0 this season when out-rebounding its opponent, and they will out-rebound Georgetown. I'm Tony Finn. I'm out. Do not pass up Bulldogs tonight minus the 3. See you tomorrow.